Okay, we're now going to go through the process of marking the duct and cutting the duct, and this is pretty important that we get this right. So the first thing to do, we look at the end of the duct, we see that there's a lid that flicks off and there's a base. So what I would do is I'll put all my marks on the back. So what I'll do is I'll turn it over, get my tape measure, I'll get my fine point marking pen, which is also the Milwaukee pen, in the rear of the actual workshop area there in that little plastic container where all the marking pens are, and I will measure a measurement. So if you want to pre-lock your tape measure greater than 500, so it's already the right length, so you get your hands free, so it's not the tension on the tape all the time. And then you can use the tape measure to measure 500 millimeters. Release the tape. Use your square to square that measurement up. Now if you measure exactly 500 millimeters, you are going to be assessed on this, so this is important to take this consideration. That if you're marking it at 500 millimeters, then you're cutting it 500 millimeters, what do you have to do? You have to leave the line, because the line is at 500 millimeters. So now I'm just going to double check that to make sure that that's right. So make sure my mark is exactly where it should be, and it's exactly at 500. So now I can cut the conduit. Now, to cut the conduit, you need that flat edge on the, cut the duct, you need that flat edge on the conduit cutters, or on the pipe cutters, so that the duct will be easy to cut. Just lay it in the drawer, lay your blade, so your blade will cut straight, line it up, so it's just on the far side of the line, so you leave the line when you cut, and just go through the process of the clicks on the compression, and there we are. We have our duct cut, and we see we have the line still there on the edge. We've got a smooth edge. Okay, we don't pull the plastic off yet, we still leave the plastic there because we've got to do our next measurement and do our cuts, do our drilling next. So we don't need the cutting tool for the moment, so that can go back away. The next thing we've got to do, we've got to take some measurements, and we've got to do these measurements so that we drill our holes for the next exercise, not for this exercise. But we'll do it now while the plastic's on there, so we don't actually put any marks on the duct surface any more than we have to, so we keep protecting it. So the next measurement will be, we're going to drill a hole 100 millimeters from one side in, one in the centre, and 100 millimeters from the bottom side up. So take the first one and measure 100. Take the next one from the bottom. We measure 100. I measured the length of the duct again just to confirm that it is 500, and I halve that. Half of 500 in this particular case is 250 millimeters. So I've got the three marks there now that I have to drill, but I don't know exactly the centre of the duct yet, so now I've got to measure the centre of the duct. Now to do that, we know the duct already from what the labels told us that it's 25 millimeters. If we set this square up at 25, what we'll be able to do, we'll be able to butt the side of the square into the duct and then create an accurate centre measurement from the 25 by dividing it by 2, and we come up with a measurement of 12 and a half. Got that a fraction shy. So there we are. So now I've got the lined up there. I'll put a mark there at 12.5 millimeters. Do all three of them now, all at 12.5 millimeters. Do the third one now at 12.5 millimeters. Always remember to put the cap back on the pen, because otherwise it won't be okay for the next person to use. Now I'm going to drill those now. I'm going to drill those with the battery drill with the 4mm drill bit in it. But to do that though, I'm not going to drill it straight over the surface like that, just in case something happens or there. I don't want to damage the workbench. So I'm going to put a timber block underneath it, a nice flat surface, put this on top, and just feather the chuck like that, and just drill 3 holes, just through the back, not through the front. Just line up with your finger, keep your fingers away when you do the drilling. And there you have the 3 holes drilled. See, there's no holes in the front, just 3 holes in the back. 1, 2, and 3. Now, what I can do now is I can remove the plastic sheet. Because I've got all my holes drilled, and that should just peel off like a sock, like so. There we have a piece of duct ready to put to the surface that we've already marked. Okay, let's have a pause.